On August 7th, Cassie finally broke her silence. Little by little, I'm healing. Just 7 words. But they shook the internet. Because when the woman whose lawsuit cracked this entire saga wide open decides to speak, people listen. And what she said might be the clearest glimpse yet into how she's moving forward. While Diddy's legal firestorm only grows darker. We've been watching the Diddy saga play out in real time, the raids, the bail hearings, the flood of lawsuits. But before all of that, it was Cassie's case in November 2023 that pulled the first thread and unraveled the mogul's carefully built image. Her August post wasn't long, wasn't flashy, but it was raw, vulnerable, and powerful. And if you know her story, those words carry a weight no headline can capture. So today, we're diving into Cassie's post, the lawsuit that changed everything, and why her voice still echoes through every twist of Diddy's trial. Cassie kept it short. Little by little, I'm healing. That's all it took for her name to trend worldwide. The timing mattered. She had been quiet for months while the legal storm raged on around Diddy. No interviews, no podcasts, no media tours. Just silence. Which is why this small, personal update felt so significant. It wasn't a PR statement. It wasn't lawyer-approved language. It read like a woman reclaiming her own narrative on her own terms. And in a world where survivors are often drowned out by headlines, sometimes a few words speak louder than pages of court filings. Back in November 2023, Cassie filed what would become one of the most explosive lawsuits in recent music history. Her complaint accused Sean Diddy Combs of years of abuse, physical, sexual, and emotional, stretching across nearly a decade of their relationship. She alleged he controlled her career, manipulated her personal life, and subjected her to repeated violence. In plain legal terms, her lawyers were painting a picture of coercive control, a concept more and more courts are beginning to recognize. But the shock wasn't just in the accusations, it was in how fast the case ended. Within 24 hours of filing, Cassie and Diddy's legal teams reached a settlement. And in the legal world, that's practically unheard of. Why does that matter? Because settlements usually take weeks, months, sometimes even years of back and forth negotiations. The fact that this one wrapped in a single day told the public 2 things. Diddy's camp wanted this lawsuit gone before it could dig in deeper. Cassie's claims had enough legal firepower to push for a resolution immediately. The settlement terms were confidential, which is standard, but the swiftness sent a shockwave through both the industry and the courts. It also opened the door for speculation. If Diddy was so confident in his innocence, why settle so quickly? Was it about avoiding discovery, where internal documents and evidence could have come to light? Or was it a way to prevent Cassie from testifying in a public trial? This wasn't just another celebrity breakup gone sour. This was a lawsuit that flipped the narrative on one of hip-hop's most powerful moguls. And here's where it gets even more important. Cassie's filing came just before New York's Adult Survivors Act deadline. That law gave survivors of sexual assault a 1-year look-back window to file civil claims that would otherwise be barred by the statute of limitations. Her case landed in that window. And in many ways, it showed the law working exactly as intended. Other high-profile cases used the same legal opening, like the lawsuits against Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. Cassie's case fit into that same pattern, survivors using a rare chance to hold powerful men accountable. So, when people say her lawsuit cracked this story wide open, that's what they mean. Without her filing, and without the shock of that lightning-fast settlement, the chain of lawsuits and investigations that followed might never have gained traction. And that leads us straight to the ripple effect. How Cassie's voice didn't just impact her case, but shaped the legal battlefield Diddy's fighting on today. Even though Cassie's lawsuit ended almost as fast as it began, her voice never left the courtroom, because her case became the blueprint for everything that followed. Think about it. Before November 2023, Diddy was still untouchable. A mogul with money, power, and an empire built over decades. But once Cassie put her allegations in black and white, in a legal filing that couldn't be dismissed as gossip or rumor, that shield cracked. Her complaint laid out patterns of abuse and coercion, and once those details were public, it gave other women a roadmap. If Cassie could step forward, they could too. And they did. In the months that followed, multiple new lawsuits landed against Diddy, each one echoing elements of Cassie's story. This is something prosecutors and civil attorneys talk about all the time: the first voice effect. The first person who speaks out is often the catalyst. Once their story is out, it changes the risk calculus for everyone else. Suddenly, potential witnesses don't feel so isolated, potential plaintiffs don't feel so outnumbered, and investigators have a starting point to connect the dots. Cassie's lawsuit may have settled quickly, but the ripple effect reshaped the playing field. It made prosecutors take a second look at allegations they might have ignored before. It shifted public perception of Diddy from untouchable businessman to embattled defendant. It set the tone for media coverage, reframing his image in ways his PR team could no longer fully control. And history shows us how powerful this effect can be. Remember when one accusation against Harvey Weinstein opened the floodgates to dozens more? Or when one testimony in the Bill Cosby saga cracked years of silence wide open? Cassie's role in Diddy's case sits in that same lineage, the moment that turned whispers into a wave. So while her personal legal battle ended in just 24 hours, her impact has stretched far beyond that settlement. In every bail hearing, in every headline, in every new lawsuit filed, Cassie's voice is still echoing in the background, and that's what makes her August 7th post so striking. Because even as the trial machinery grinds on without her, she reminded the world that her story isn't just part of the legal record, it's part of her healing. It's easy to get caught up in the headlines, the legal filings, and the dramatic courtroom sketches. But behind all of that is a real person. For survivors, the period after speaking out is often just as difficult as the act itself. Lawsuits bring media scrutiny, public judgment, and sometimes online harassment. It's no surprise Cassie stepped back from the spotlight after her case. That's what makes her August post powerful. It wasn't about legal strategy, it was about healing. She didn't need to write a tell-all or sit down for a documentary. She just needed to remind the world, I'm still here, and I'm moving forward. Cassie's August post was short, but the reaction was anything but. Within hours, it was everywhere, trending across social media, picked up by every entertainment outlet, and sparking conversations that went far beyond celebrity gossip. Fans flooded her comments with support, not just for the post itself, but for the bravery of choosing to speak at all after months of silence. In a way, the brevity made it more powerful. It wasn't about fueling headlines, it was about reclaiming her own narrative on her own terms. And history shows how these small, personal updates can ripple into cultural moments. When Keisha posted after her legal battles with Dr. Luke, just a few words were enough to rally fans worldwide. When Britney Spears finally spoke directly to her followers during her conservatorship fight, short Instagram captions carried more weight than some of the court transcripts. Cassie's message worked the same way. It reminded everyone that at the heart of this saga isn't just Diddy's empire collapsing or the legal chess game. It's her survival and her healing. And in an industry where silence has too often been the default, her choice to speak, even briefly, signals a cultural shift. Survivors don't always need to fill interviews or documentaries to be heard. Sometimes 7 words are enough. Cassie's Little by Little isn't just a personal update. It's a reminder that while court cases may be about evidence and lawyers, healing is about time and resilience. What do you think? Was her post a quiet reclaiming of power, or just a glimpse into a process we'll never fully see? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit subscribe. Because as Diddy's trial barrels toward October, Cassie's voice will remain one of the most powerful echoes in the story.